This episode of On the Delivery is brought to you by Haley Bug Creations. Any sticker or decal that you want, she can make. You want to customize? She can do that too. Check out her Etsy shop. The link is in the episode description. There you will find a large variety of different decals and stickers made from premium vinyl that is sure to last. So guys, get yourself or someone you know, a Schmedlex, Smiley, or whatever company they work for. Get them a sticker, okay? You will not be disappointed. They will not be disappointed by the quality of these decals. And now, let's get on with the show. What's up, everybody, and thank you for joining us on this episode of On the Delivery. This is episode 97. Guys, episode 97. Here we are. Let's go around the table. Let's switch it up. Let's start it with our producer, Nate. Nate, how are you, buddy? All right, great talking to you, Nate. Continuing going around the table, the Rolling Rokins. Guys, how are you?
We're rolling.
Still rolling?
We're rolling. Not really. We're in Wisconsin. I mean, we're rolling on projects and things, but yeah, we're still here, and we're going to be here probably for, I think, another
3 weeks.
3 weeks, and then we start heading to Florida.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. Just still working on that book?
Yeah, and then thanks.
6.5 weeks left.
Yeah, and thanks to Luke for pre-ordering his, like kicking me in the ass, and I'm more stressed and sweating. So yeah, everything's good.
Just that added. It's like I mean, I can always say, man, I come from the fictional Bud Kilmer era. Anybody that remembers the movie Varsity Blues, like win at all costs kind of thing. So I figured I'd give you that little Bud Kilmer's pep talk before we recorded. Nah, you got all the time in the world. You don't have it.
Right.
From what I saw, from what I've seen, I mean, I'm just fucking looking forward. The finished product. I mean, I was blown away from the not finished product. So I'm really, no matter the timeline, I know you guys will get it done within.
We did get final approval from our publisher for the adult content chapter, so that's exciting.
Nice.
Joe was very tasteful with his drawings and did not include nudity, but implied.
No one wanted to see my ass.
I told you it was probably a nice cartoon ass.
I know.
It was.
I'm an ass model.
But that was very exciting. We got approval from them to do that. So
Good. Awesome. Well, thank you guys for being here, of course. Continuing going around the table, the voice you just heard over there down in West by God, Virginia.
Fuck.
Luke, how are you, buddy?
Dude, just to hear that sound clip, I'm doing well. Still haven't returned to work yet. Still enjoying the longest layoff I've had.
Hell
knock
yes.
on wood. I don't know if I'm off this long again, I'd probably wouldn't be for a good thing. So it would be non-injury. This is me longest I've been off non-injury related, enjoying fatherhood. So I'm doing good. But what just made me laugh was the sound bite, the original fuck sound bite. That was from episode 1. And I mean,
Think about that. Hold on a second.
I'm more
like, I've never really thought about that. That's from episode 1.
It's from episode 1. We were going to talk about episode 1 a little bit. I know just to piggyback, because the guest we have on tonight is, I mean, to say OG would be an understatement, because we've had OG supporters for a long time, but I mean, he was a co-creator of this thing. So, I mean, just to hear that soundbite note came from episode 1 and to actually be able to speak with somebody that was there. I'm just fucking excited, man. Happy Friday.
Hell
Happy whatever
yes.
day it is you're listening to this. If it's Monday, I'm sorry.
and he's still not working, and we are.
One more week. I'll be
Enjoy
back.
it, buddy. Enjoy every second of it. So, also, guys, quick shout out to our Patreon subscribers. Okay, huge shout out to Tony, Sam, V, Ashley, Andrew, Fernando, Nate, Clement, Tad, Luke, Ryan, Will, Chuck, Jacob, Sean, David, and Kayla. Thank you guys so much for your continued support. Like we always say, it means the world to us. So thank you guys so much.
Absolutely.
Now, Luke, let's introduce our very special.
I knew he was going to get 3.
Guys, he is one of, like Luke just said, he teased you a little bit. He's one of the originals, the OGs, if you will, from the podcast. He was only lasted 3 episodes, but you know, he's back to do his guest part here, and we can't be any more over the moon to have him here, guys, all the way down from Naples, Florida. Please give a warm welcome to Brad Mosher. Brad, how are you, buddy?
I'm outstanding. How about yourselves?
Good, thank you.
Dude, I mean, from the 94 episode gap that we've had, your hair is fucking majestic. I'm truly jealous of it. Because I mean, you've still got enough of the hairline that you can fucking pull it off. I can't do it, man. See, I could grow it long like that in the back, but I'd look like Hogan, dude. I'd end up looking like Hulkamania. But
come on, brother.
Yeah, dude. It's God, I'm so fucking excited for this episode, dude. I'm for the first guest to have back after, because I'm having all these little milestones in my head now, being a dad. Like, this is the first episode we recorded because we did the second half of the Daddy Luke episode. So this is like, oh, this is the first person we've had somebody on that I'm now. But what better fucking person? God dang it, dude! I don't even know where to begin.
I know where to begin. Let's talk about how we all kind of first met.
Well,
do you remember?
I met Bobby because I sent him some lyrics to his Guess Who's Back song. So I started talking to Bobby.
Don't know.
And then this random person, I don't remember what you called yourself at the time on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was the Cardboard Warrior.
Yeah, he was the Cardboard Warrior or the Warrior, whatever it was. Yes.
And we all started talking on the phone, and Dave and Bobby called me on a conference call. And they're like, we've got this great idea. We, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, let's do it. We're trying to figure out how.
And it wasn't even a podcast at the time. No,
it was trying to figure out how we could, because I still do it to this day with you guys and a couple other friends from work where we conference call and just bullshit all day. And we were talking about how we should record this and put it out. And I'm like, well, how could you record the phone calls? Because you could potentially get in trouble with the company. Like, hey, you're on time recording calls. So that's when we decided, when you guys came to me with that, I'm like, well, let's do a podcast. And you guys were like, oh, that's an awesome idea. And that's pretty much how it was born.
Yeah, it is.
And then you guys brought in Luke because he was the nomad delivery guy, and he's just this talker. He likes to talk. That's what you need for a podcast
all the time. Oh yeah,
God, man. Yeah, just shooting. I mean, I didn't even realize because I had no idea how many fucking stories that I tell, and to shout out, because I don't know, as this gets released, they will be happily married, but a good friend of mine is getting married tomorrow. Shout out to Matt Vance and Allison, Mr. and Mrs. Vance, you guys. But like I was thinking I may or may not kind of, because basically what I was going to do if I went down, I was going to go for a little while and just come back, depending on, how Willow's doing in the day. And they all knew that because her due date was kind of like right when the wedding was. So I wasn't really planning on going anyway. But I was just thinking, I was like, man, I'll go down there and I'd see a lot of people I hadn't seen in a while. And I was like, the fucking stories would be flowing. And I didn't realize how much I tell stories all the fucking time. So it's really fitting. So Brad, if you were the original person that thought of the podcast idea, because I don't think we didn't remember.
I couldn't remember.
No, it was mostly Bob. It was mostly the other gentleman and Dave that came up with the idea, but we kind of pointed them all in the right direction.
Yeah.
But that's how I just, to say fucking, that episode 97, to say, I wouldn't even know where to say thanks, man, because I'm just glad we still fucking talking bullshit when we can. And, I'm glad because I knew you a little bit before we kind of started when they brought, because I'd seen the memes, because back a few years ago, the memes were popping and I knew. So, I mean, but we didn't talk that much, not like we, have now in recent years, but being a few years now, it's awesome, man. I always, the cardboard community, I mean, as a whole is fucking great. But then, obviously you have like people you've interacted with more, we did with this, with Cardboard Comedy, I think was the original, and we changed the name to something else with this podcast. But
the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
The League of Extraordinary
Delivery.
Yes. And so obviously we've spoke a lot and had a lot of conversations, with that personal stuff and everything. So I value the friendship, but it's fucking it. But that's what's been awesome with this podcast altogether. And I don't know how many times I've said that just with people along the way. I could shout out fucking Jesus, so many fucking names. But so yeah,
pretty sure we shout out all those names in episode 100.
Yeah. Spoiler alert. Fuck, man. That's a lengthy one. but so anyways, since I touched up on it, I did have it in the docs. Would the memes ever rise again? Would the meme king ever come back memeing or
memeing?
I've actually been thinking about that lately, that it's time, because, if we want to get into personal stuff, the last few months have been a little rough for me, and it's definitely something that I could get back into. And there's plenty of opportunities there with the new Dyad and the Lightix cameras coming out and the general state of the company. So yeah, there's definitely plenty of material.
Oh shit! Fuck. Yeah, there's plenty.
I mean, I've actually become pretty good friends with Samantha, and we were talking about the cameras today, and we're actually getting into my building in the next few weeks, and we've been going through the training for them, and there's a lot of misconceptions.
Hold on a second. There's trainings for the cameras?
Yeah, you got to watch. Basically, it's a 20-minute training that basically tells you every 30 seconds. We're not recording in the cab. This is what it does. By the way,
tells you every 30 seconds. By the way, we're not recording.
Yeah, we're not recording in the cabs. And then it does this. By the way, we're not recording in the cabs. But it does this. By the way, we're not recording in the cabs.
Oh,
and then it gives a bunch of quotes like, I absolutely love the Lightix camera. Team member. The Lightix cameras are a wonderful thing. Team member.
Yeah,
and I went to my steward and I'm
member.
like, Brantley, that's my steward. I'm like, how many people do you think the team member quotes were actually drivers? He's like, probably none of them. I'm like, I think I agree with you.
Yeah, dude. The fact that they say it. So I think I've missed the video because apparently they're at my building now because I've been off for 3 weeks and somebody sent me a picture. A friend of mine, fellow coworker, said the cameras have hit. So I think I'll probably go back to it. So I'll have missed that video. But the fact that they say every 30 seconds we're not recording, I mean, that's almost just like somebody like thinking like you're standing there and a bear's behind you and be like, no, bear's not behind you. No, bear's not behind you. It's fine. Don't look back. You have no reason to look back. But shout out to Clay, XB TBS. He had a past guest he had a fucking Insta story where he put a fucking bag and a rubber band over that thing. It rolled. I fucking loved it. But
God.
but anyways, Brad, so the training, obviously if you put a bag with a rubber band to block it, that's probably frowned upon. But I love that you
the
did it,
lady
Clay.
was talking about. So I'm a safety co-chair, so I'm a little more involved with it. And the safety supervisor that we have, and the lady from Litex was talking about drivers unplugging them, and they're having a really big problem with that. And that's definitely a no-no, but so definitely don't put a bag around it and put a rubber band on it. That's going to get you in trouble.
And I mean, like we've heard obviously from other past guests too. One specifically was Andy Von Six when she was talking about the cameras being in the truck, and like, they tell you it's not facing in the cab, but it knows when you don't have two hands on the steering wheel. It knows.
Yes, it does.
It's like, what?
It has
What?
It has what they call a technology that they equate to like the face technology for your iPhone, where it recognizes your face and it can
Facial
tell when you're it can tell when you're looking down at at a phone, and it will tell you, it'll alert you and say distracted, and it'll like say, hey, correct it, and it won't report you right away. So until you do it a couple times, it reports you, and when it reports you, every report is worth so many points, 1 to 5. And until you get to 35 reports for the in-cab, it will not notify management. So you have to get to 35 points. I don't know. I don't remember. I don't think they specified.
So it's a game.
But all right. So basically, though, I never drive with two hands on the wheel. Is that?
I don't think that's one of the things.
All right. Thank God.
It's distracted driving.
So like,
if you're
what if we're looking?
phone,
I mean, where some of these cradles are mounted in some of these trucks, it's like.
Yeah, but you shouldn't be fucking with your cradle while the truck's moving.
I know, but let's be honest. People,
Cradle
babies are going to be out there staring down at their cradle like, do I take make a left here?
Or they'll just. I mean, I would just stare at that camera, but I guess
I don't know. I can tell you guys more as it comes out. We haven't them installed yet. We're just going through the training.
Goodness.
God, I'm going to get thrown into the fire when I get back with these things.
Buddy, you're fucked.
Oh, fuck.
You're done. You're done.
Gonzo.
Willow's not going to college. You don't have a college fund. You're done.
Oh, dude. I don't
even know if people's on the phone.
I mean,
don't know if you're looking at it, know if you're holding it, like it can recognize that kind of stuff. But I've seen the videos. The camera does have a rear-facing lens because it's just like a generic camera. Like they don't modify the equipment to the companies with it. They only modify the software. But I've seen the videos. They do not have inside cab videos, and they have no audio whatsoever.
Oh, that's good.
Man, I don't even know. It's still surreal that we've even not having audio or anything. I'm still like, I don't know. I guess it's the day and age we live in. It's not like they don't know where they could track us all day anyway if they want to. Because one time when I realized that, this was right when my dad was just about ready to retire. Like literally had like a few weeks left. And long story short, he delivered first aid supplies to different companies. So in a sense, he was kind of he was a delivery person in a way. He was like a salesman. He worked commission, but he drove this van, and I just trailed off. What the fuck was I talking about with my dad?
Your dad driving this van.
I hold on a minute, dude. I'm going on a lack of fucking sleep. You guys got to forgive me. What was I talking about before the van?
I was talking about your dad about ready to retire.
Okay, so that's what. Yeah, getting tracked. That's what it was. Sorry, I'm on like 3 hours of sleep in 4 days. So his company got bought out. And this new era came in, and these people were like, well, we track everything, blah, blah, blah. And they're like talking, my dad's on his way out, and this dude's talking to him like he's a 25-year-old. So I'm I'm at work one
Typical
day.
supervisor, 25-year-old with no experience.
Right. My dad literally in his 60s, about to step out. Never had it was, everybody loved him. And I remember, like, it was literally 2-3 weeks prior. I was leaving and I got a green light special on the good old diet fives. And where I was at, I got a message that said, "Don't go across town, take Sunset and go that way on the highway," because I was still a pretty new driver then, and they knew where I was at. If I went across town, I was going to be caught in the 5 o'clock traffic, and I was in Morgantown. So right then I was like, damn. And I remember I called my dad. I was like, yeah, I think it's good. You wouldn't like this shit, man. This is, like, my dad always kind of did his own. I mean, it wasn't like, yeah, he kind of worked his own schedule, but he still did things a certain way. He had his own freedom. I mean, like, so I had the flu one time. Only time I went to the hospital before, where I've actually had to be in the hospital before Willow was born. This was like 11 years ago. I called my dad. I was like, something doesn't feel right. Like, I think I need to go to the hospital. Something's off. And I forget where the fuck he was, but he left, drove, picked me up, dropped me off, went back. He was like 45 minutes out. He could just do that shit. But once now, you know what I mean? You can't get away with stuff like that, because they're going to be like, why the fuck did you break 45 minutes to go to Fairmont? And you know what I mean? Like, it's a new era. Sorry. I was trying to think of, I was thinking too quick and stumped myself. I apologize.
So Brad, take us back,
Yes,
buddy.
sir.
How did you end up getting started with the company?
Well, picture this. It's 2005. I have a brand new baby. And I'm working security for a development company. And I'm working at a gatehouse and I can get on the computer. So I'm looking for a second job. I find an advertisement for seasonal help for the preload and I apply. I get rehired 1 year and 1 day, because back then in 2005 and 6, the contract required that you work 1 year and 1 day before you become a driver, before you become full time.
Right. So you got to work inside.
Yep. My then center manager, there's actually 2 people that refused the job, one of which still works at the company as a part-timer on the local sort. And he comes up to me and says, "Hey, what are you doing on Monday?" I said, "I guess I'm driving for you, aren't I?" He goes, "Yes, sir, you are." The funny thing is that the job that I had working security with the director of security was a friend of my father's, because he was a retired sheriff's deputy and my father's retired City of Naples police officer. He says, "You haven't worked at a job more than 18 months. Because my grandfather always said, if the place across the street is paying 10 cents more, go across the street. So I'd always constantly move jobs to higher paying jobs. And he said, "You haven't worked a job for more than 18 months. Are you going to work here more than 18 months? And I said, we'll see. And it was 18 months to the day that I went driving.
Yeah.
And I was still working there while I was qualifying, because, the first 2 or 3 weeks back, almost 16 years ago, they only gave you 60 stops and you'd only work till like 1 or 2 in the afternoon until they ramped you up.
God, that's how.
And I would work driving, qualifying, and then go at 3 o'clock to my job to work 3 to 11. And eventually I quit and became a driver. The unfortunate thing was in 2006, we had that recession. And for 7 years, I was laid off between Easter and Thanksgiving. And I'd work split shifts to get my 8 hours.
No shit.
The good thing about that was that I was the only person that would demand my 8 hours. So the local sort supervisor realized that I was the only laid off driver that would show up. So because we were laid off and bumping his local sort people, his vacation schedule would get screwed up. I got trained in every single job. I'm an E2DC clerk, an exception clerk. I am a customer counter clerk. I'm a damage clerk. I have done every job in that building except internationals, because that's a lot more training. So the good thing about that is when they have a customer counter shortage, I get to sit in the AC all day, work the customer counter, and they keep me off the road. So then eventually, after 7 years, they started hiring more drivers. And the funny story about that is I tried to bump a driver, and an on-road goes, "What? You finally got us a little bit." So I was the last inside hire, and there was one guy below me who was the outside hire. And he goes, "You finally get a little bit of seniority, and you think you're a badass?" And I looked at him. I said, "Mike, it's 7 fucking years worth of seniority. What the fuck are you talking about?" It's 7 fucking years that I spent getting laid off until I finally never got laid off again in the summers.
Yeah.
And so that's how I got started, just looking for a second job and make a little extra money.
Damn.
And the funny thing is, the first paycheck I got was like $125 because we only made $850 a preload back then.
Oh, boy.
Which, incidentally, the local sort supervisor used to be an HR guy. When they downsized HR, they gave him our local sort supervisor job as like a consolation prize. And when he started in 1979, he made $8 an hour. And this is 2008 when he's telling me this. And then I eventually became a driver. I became an air driver in November of 2005, went full-time 2006. And now I'm number 2 for the feeder list, and maybe I can make that, or we'll see what else happens.
Awesome. That's sweet, dude. I mean, the whole recession thing, that's not sweet, but
No.
that had to have been a little tough. I mean,
one year we had a center manager who put on seasonal drivers before us, and I went from like March till December 7th before I drove again, because he put on seasonal drivers and golf carts before us. And I remember that date because it's the date that will live in infamy, December 7th, before I finally started driving again.
Damn, that's a fucking stretch.
Yeah.
Well, the good thing was that we had enough sense. My then wife had enough sense that we saved enough money. And there were people in the seniority list above me that like couldn't make their car payments, that were like getting cars repossessed and stuff. And me and the guy below me, he's single, we're buying houses because we knew what was coming. And these guys didn't, which was unfortunate for them, but I knew I was going to get laid off. So we always saved money and then spent that over the summer. But I couldn't go home without my 8 hours knowing that I left money on the table and couldn't pay a bill. That's like crazy. Right. So I'd work till like 10, 11 o'clock at night and split shift. And that's the one good thing about the contract, at least. When you're a full-time driver and get laid off, you can displace people that, it sucks that you're going to displace people that have a part-time job, but that's their part-time job. This is my livelihood.
Yeah.
God, when the recession, were you working there when the recession hit, Dave? You weren't there yet, were you? Yeah, God. So for me, I was college student partying preload, just blowing what money I had. So the recession didn't even faze me because I was fucking poor. I remember sitting there thinking, I was like, damn, I think I'm going to be all right here. There's people. I had a 95 Cavalier that I was driving around. Paid off. I
was driving a 95 Chevy Lumina with a dent in the fucking hood because the first peak I worked there, I worked 160 hours between preload and jumping. We started preload at 10:45, and I was like, the preload manager at the time, which names was Cheryl. I was like, Cheryl, I don't get off my second job till 11. What the fuck am I going to do? Oh, we'll have somebody load the truck for you. I come in at like 11:15 when I finally showed up. It's just stacked the fuck out. All 3 of my trucks is a pile. I'm like, are you fucking serious?
They were like, yeah, just put it on the floor. He'll be here in a little bit.
He'll be here eventually.
Jesus. Oh, of course.
Well,
yeah,
dude,
right.
Like
they're going to have somebody load a truck. Yeah, right.
It was crazy because I was talking about that with a couple of my buddies today, that we went down to 9,000 packages for that summer. And we don't go below 35,000 now. It's insane how much growth there is.
Yeah, dude.
God, I don't even know what our package count is now, but I know from my long stretch on preload, by the time I left, it was like it fucking like tripled or something. But yeah, it's crazy how. But no, with all the jobs that you've done and all the shit, that's what I've said. Like part of the reason I've always obviously more of just to have fun and bullshit, but also with as far as you're concerned. That's what I told Dave. I was like, there's not too many people. I don't know who else I would go to if I had a question, either safety shit or anything related. I can't think of one person that I'd fucking go to before I would go to you. If I really needed to feel something I would need to know or have an opinion that I actually, trusted. But I don't know I don't know if we even really were going to talk about it, but so how long were you a police officer for? Do you care to talk? That was before you were driving, if you want to get into that.
I was in the air. I signed up for the Air Force 4 years. I became a state certified law enforcement officer. I took the state exam. I broke up with my then fiance and moved back home. Got a conditional offer from the city of Naples, and then my girlfriend, future wife, got pregnant. And she's like, "I don't really want you to be a police officer." So then I became a security guard, and then eventually ended up working it off. So I was.
See, I think I fucked that up. For some reason, I thought you went straight from being a police officer.
Well, no, I was never actually a civilian law enforcement officer. I was certified.
I fucked that up. Okay.
But I was going through the employment process, and my girlfriend got pregnant, and she was like, I don't want you to be a cop. I can't handle that.
Well, dude,
so that's why I went to law enforcement and then ended up went in security, and
that's obviously understandable. And shout out to an old friend of mine and past guest, Brandon Manchin, because that's what he said. Because he was a state trooper in Baltimore. He told that story. If you remember that one, Dave, when he was, that guy had to, and he had just had his daughter. So yeah, that was kind of because he had left. That was what he had said that, he worked with me, and then he'd left and went there to do that. But he's back with them now. But yeah, I mean, that's obviously when you have when you're about to have, it changes shit. And I can finally, I can actually, I know what I understand it now, being very fresh into fatherhood, but it definitely, yeah, man, that I definitely understand.
So what got you into like the whole safety stuff, being the co-chair? How did that all come about?
Well, at first, with the center manager I have now, he was our center manager previously. I refused to join because I just didn't want to do it. But I got into the mentoring. Yeah, but I got into the mentoring program because I enjoyed mentoring new drivers. Mm-hmm. And so I would be kind of touching on it. And then we got a new center manager who used to be my on-road, who actually trained me. Oh. And he really needed help. So I joined the safety committee. And then it's something I enjoy. So, mentoring those new drivers, and we do what we call on-road safety observations. So we jump on the car with the drivers, and, the nature of the company is that the on-roads really don't have a lot of experience driving. They're usually part-time soups that drive for 30 days during peak. And then they jump on these cars and they're following a book that some guy wrote who never drove in his life. And then they'll throw us on the car to kind of try to help the drivers really understand what the job is. And to take somebody who has no education, who has no prospects for any other job, that's going to give them the opportunities that does and make them successful is just a great feeling. So being on the safety committee and being able to do those on-road observations, and being someone who back, I don't know what it was, 3 or 4 or 5 years ago, after that disastrous peak, they sent a bunch of drivers to the management driver safety training school. So I went to MDST and got trained as a trainer. So be able to know what really needs to be going on and be able to help those people who have no opportunities outside is just awesome. So it's pretty cool. Yeah.
And I mean, like, the one cool thing too is like them, like, because our building, like, we don't. I'm assuming the reason why, because we're a smaller building compared to yours, but like they've never sent any of our safety committee out on the road with new hires, and I really feel like that is so much better for that new hire to have somebody who's an actual driver out there, because they could relate more to them, and they may not feel as pressured, and not as pressured as if they're on cars sitting in the jump seat next to them.
There was nothing. I was leaving the building today, and my other co-chair, we're mutual co-chairs. His name's Sean. I was driving out of the parking lot with behind him, and a kid named Jacob is coming out of the building. He runs up to Sean. He's like, dude, I made it. I qualified. It's amazing. And I was actually on the phone with Sean in his car, and I could hear what he was saying. And he's like, I'm so proud of you, bro. You're awesome. Good job. That's just a great feeling to be able to say, I helped that guy qualify. And
Right.
for all the problems that happen and some of the toxic managers and supervisors that for all the good ones, there's a bad one. To hear a kid that's just so happy to say that I'm going to make $100,000 this year, I've never been able to have that opportunity, and to know that you're part of that person being successful is just a good feeling.
Absolutely.
Yeah, dude. I understand.
Absolutely. Yeah, dude, that's awesome. And it's like, like that's the one thing like we tell like all of our new hires too when it comes to either mentoring or whatever we're doing with them is like, like, hey, this person's on the safety committee, this person, that person, this person. Any questions you have, feel free to come to us. Like, you don't have to go to your on-cars. You don't have to go to your center manager. Like, if you have any questions, if you feel more comfortable, come to us. And we'll definitely help you out.
Absolutely. And I feel like those stupid questions that the on-cars get 50 phone calls a day about, I'd rather them come to me.
Sure.
And I can answer those questions. And to be honest, I use the dyad every day. If they have a question about the dyad, I can walk them through it better than an on-car can.
Right.
And then the on-car thinks they're a lot smarter than they are. They give a better impression if they're calling me as opposed to them.
Yeah. True.
No, it does go a long way, man. I could see that just with, especially being a new driver. I feel like I feel like I haven't been doing it that long, but I've been doing it long enough now. Like it's been over a decade. So, but I'm trying, when I started, yeah, if I would have had somebody that was a driver, fuck, man. I don't want to say my on-road soup was still good to train me. He's actually the center manager at our building now, but yeah, that would go a long way. It definitely would. And it's awesome because we don't really have that either, Dave, at my center, because mine's, I know mine's a little bit bigger than yours, but it's not at Brad's.
You don't have what? A safety committee?
Well, or no, we have a safety committee, but we don't have like what he's talking about. I don't think none of our safety people actually
go on road with another
yes,
driver.
They don't. Yeah, they don't go on road. Not that I know of. I'm pretty sure they don't because I've never seen it. Because I would notice that
we're still trying. Me and the co-chair at my building, we're still trying to get our center manager to like get us time in the building to make videos, but not only that, but even for like the new hires and stuff, like even make a simple video on like how to properly do a service cross at a stop, and just like, because God forbid those service crosses are a fucking mess depending on who's doing it. All right. And like, and it's a simple whole, it's the whole procedure: going up, knock, 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 maybe wait a couple seconds, nobody's coming, knock, knock, knock again. Okay. Info notice, da, 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 da. And then it's just like, instead of, because, some people may learn better visually than somebody just talking about it. You know what I mean? So we're trying to get to your level there, Brad.
Yeah, well, they have no problem. Like we have supposed to have 5 on-roads. We have 4. And for the longest time, we only had 3. And they had no problem when they didn't have an on-road to train somebody to pay them to jump on a car with a regular driver and learn that kind of stuff. Because it's a lost art for people that don't do it to be a supervisor. And it's not their fault that if they don't do it, to learn that you knock, 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 you make the service cross, and then you knock again, and then you fill out the info notice. It's just methods. It's things that they don't, they're reading the book and they're going through the book, and there's just little nuances that they're missing because they're reading the 340 methods, which is 340 different things they're supposed to teach, but they miss the 400 other things that drivers do every day.
Right.
It's true. But yeah, that's awesome.
I don't even. I'm trying to think of which. God, shout out to Tracy Wojtek if he listens to this podcast. He's one of our safety guys. If he rode that guy, just a quick side story. I told Dave, I was like, I'm too tired to ramble. I don't want to fucking blunder over stories again. But I know with the safety guy, he loaded across from me and preload. He preloaded a long time, and God, you want to talk about somebody. I don't even know if I'd want him to come on here. That dude saw me. Those stories I told you about our preload. He was one of the good guys. He was a good worker. He wasn't going out all night doing that shit. But God, dude, he loaded across from me for a couple of years. He's a safety guy. And I'm supposed to fucking right before I left for fraternity, I was supposed to come 10 minutes early to do some safety shit, and I forgot. And but now if I rode with him, Jesus, I'd just, I don't know. He would be the fun one. We've got 3, but I'd say he would be the fun one. The other 2, they'd be all right. But yeah, I'd have a good time with Tracy out there. Yeah, that would be a dude to ask some questions about, because he probably remembers more of me in the preload than I fucking do. I'll just put it that way. When I first started.
So, Florida. God, how do you guys handle the weather in Florida?
Not very well. Oh my God. It was like 92 degrees and it was like 109 with the heat index because of the humidity. And it feels like you're literally swimming through the air. We've already had one heat-related injury this year. A couple of years ago, we had a guy. I can't remember what it's called. Excuse me. It's when your like kidneys shut down and shit. That this guy just wasn't drinking enough and damn near died. I can't remember what it's called. But it's serious, man. And actually, we have 4 new trucks that are painted like the airplanes. We call them brown tails, and they're testing them out because we all know those little spinny do,
the white ones,
air vents. Yeah, we know all the brown trucks with the spinny do little air vents don't work worth a crap.
Yeah, that's just.
I mean,
I
we
call
can
those
all
the
admit
dunce
it.
caps. Yeah, those are.
Yeah, the dunce caps don't work worth a crap. In fact, the brand new brown trucks that we're getting in our building, because we've been crushing them left and right, they don't even have them now. They're giving up on us. So we have what we're calling brown tails. They're painted like the airplanes. They're 3/4 white, and then they have a yellow stripe, and then a little bit of brown, and the emblem on the back. And we have 4 trucks. 2 of them have brown back doors. 2 of them have white brown doors. 2 of them have special honeycomb plexiglass roofs, and 2 of them don't. And they're testing them out, and they put heat
glass.
Yeah, well, you know how your roofs are white, the white plexiglass.
Yeah.
So 2 of them are honeycombed, and 2 of them aren't. And then we put sensors in 2 random brown package cars, and they're going to test the temperatures in the back of the pack cargo area to see which system is the best system. So there's a very good chance that all our package cars will be 3/4 white soon.
Well, if there's a state to test that, it's fucking where you're at.
Yeah, I don't know if they're testing them anywhere else, but they're getting a lot of attention. They gave them to 2 safety members and 2 Circle of Honor drivers. So 2 of the cars are on the coast, and 2 of the cars are inland. They're in fact the 2 most extended routes. I drove one today because that guy's on vacation, and I drove 135 miles. So I drove at least 135, so 65 miles in and 65 miles back. And the other guy drives like 280 miles. He drives almost to Miami and back, because I'm on the West Coast, of course. So he drives to the East Coast and almost back. So they have heat sensors in them to see just what the temperatures are. And I can say there's a little bit of a difference, but I'm still in the habit of when I go in the back of the truck to open the back door to sort. Yeah. So, I mean, I really can't say too much about it.
That's what, like, it's hard for me to believe that would make that big of, like, because I understand, like, if it's because it's painted white, it's a lighter color to a darker color. If it's just that simple, like if you wear a black shirt outside when it's hot compared to a white shirt, you know. But I was still thinking, like, I mean, well, at least they're doing something. But dude, Florida.
No,
go ahead. You're good.
No, I feel like the dunce caps were like bullshit. I don't think that was really trying with
They were
those.
just window dressing to
But they're at
fucking
least making an effort with these white trucks. Like, I think that's a real effort. They're testing them. They're figuring it out. And one of the, I'm friends with him and one of the mechanics, and he said the seats are actually special seats that have less padding so that it's just fabric and you can breathe through them. So we'll see. I mean, I don't know what the results are going to be. One of them keeps getting red tagged because the camera doesn't work. But even one of our mechanics is a dingleberry who just wants to be a jerk.
So
and he red tagged it for like 3 weeks because some cover driver wrote it up and he's like, how many write-ups does it take? This has been written up 4 times and he red tagged it for like a month.
Hold on. So did you say the backup camera or the?
Yeah.
Okay. For a second, I wanted to make sure I clarified that. But God, dude, and that kind of pisses me off a little bit because if there was one thing that they beat into our skulls at driving school was the backup camera, not even the third mirror option bullshit. I'm not talking about the answer on paper, but just like the driver, there was 2 drivers that were there, like that were, I guess, there as instructors, but they all say like, yeah, it's going to go out on you at some time. And I feel like that goes back. This sounds fucking petty, but this goes back that it bothers me that we don't like, there's people that can't drive standards, but are considered professional drivers. Like if you can't back up a fucking truck, well, now I'm just saying, Dave drives a fucking 1,000. Now, you know your area. I know that you got your own route, but dude, you know, if you need to, you can fucking still maneuver one of those things without a backup. Does it suck? Yes. It sucks to not have that extra fucking, but the fact that you would red tag a truck over a camera, I just don't like it. I don't like it, man, but I don't know. That's just kind of my old fucking spit and glue kind of. But see, I'm also the person that when I bounced around, the mechanics would give me the shit. Like if somebody kept writing up a truck that was shitty or unsafe, it normally went to me because they would be like, all right, he'll drive it and see if he says it's bad, then it must be fucking bad. So, I mean, that's my career. Yeah. I mean, I was driving the trucks on the highway that was just like,
fucking bolts rattling, falling out.
Like
and shit.
people, there would be drivers that would pass and be like, dude, I could see you shaking. And I was like, I know.
You can go to one of my original posts and I have a picture of a piece of my truck laying on the ground. I'm like, I don't know what part that is. I hope it's not important.
But it's okay for service.
Yeah, it's still running. So I'm going to keep going until it breaks.
Because I looked up the one time that it was written up, it literally, because I looked in it because it was it was an old 1,000. It was a standard. It didn't run bad, but it looked shitty. It had zip ties holding up the bumper, and it literally said in the write up, it said this truck is a hazard.
We actually don't even have any stick shifts left. Not one single one.
Oh, we haven't had any in years.
But that's such bullshit because when I went to driving school, guess what I had to fucking drive to pass the course? A fucking stick shift.
Well, we all did. Every one of us did. Yeah, man.
I didn't even have power steering when I took my road test in a no power steering 4-speed 800. I don't even know that there's. Mm-hmm.
I wish we still had one. I fucking love driving sticks.
I always say they should keep the 4-speeds no power steerings for people to qualify in. That way you really know what the fuck.
If you can drive this,
you can
drive any other our trucks. Absolutely.
Now we're getting all these trucks. I mean, it's better. It's getting, if they can improve something with heat, then that's fucking great.
Yeah,
I'm fine with that. Because I always say shit with Arizona and those states with how hot it is, but dude, they don't have the humidity that Florida has because we have humidity here. It can get hot, but dude, it's not like 108 degrees with humidity here. It's like 90 something normally with humidity, which fucking sucks. But
when it's 125 with the heat index, it's horrible. It's bad.
God,
and I feel for that guy in California because they just push the mentality that go, and I spent my first couple of years, I'd have a water keg over my seatbelt buckle.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd have a cup of ice in my cup holder. And for the first year or two, I wouldn't stop to refill that cup. I just drink out of the water keg. And I'm like, what the fuck was I doing? You know, it's a wonder that I even made it as far as I did without getting hurt. Because I wouldn't even stop for 30 seconds to fill up my water cup with ice. I just drink straight out of the water keg at Red Bites. I'd unbuckle my seatbelt, grab the jug and drink out of it real quick and then put it back before the light changed. Now it's like, no, I'll fill up my cup and then down a bottle of water as well, you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It always kicks me in the fucking head one time every year because I'm still just so caffeine driven. And that first time when it's hot out and I realize that I need to drink more water, dude, that first day always kicks my ass. But dude, it's so fucking vital to try to, like, I'll hammer it in the morning. I try to, even if I drink coffee, man, I'll still make myself chug like a bottle or two. But I don't really know a lot of the details with that, with the driver from California. I mean, I know there's going to be, I'm sure there's going to be an investigation with it and everything. I'm kind of curious to see, not to really, it's because, they've always had a tendency, we've been there long enough. We know stuff where, with accidents or just anything when tragedy related, it kind of gets swept under the rug. You know what I mean? But now with social media and kind of presence and news stories, like that was big enough. That was on ABC, I saw. And it makes me curious of what, it sucks, man, because one thing for me, I could say just with playing football and shit, I knew with dehydration, like I knew well enough to I need to, and I'm not little, to always hydrate, even when I don't feel like it. But, there's a lot of, sometimes that shit still slips my mind, and it's just, it fucking sucks. It sucks that this happened. I don't want to use this as like a butt moment because somebody lost their life, and it's not, no matter what, they're still gone. But it makes me curious moving forward, because if this would have happened like 10 or 15 years ago, who knows if we would even have heard about it. If this wouldn't have made news, we'd never would have heard it. You know what I mean? It's like you wouldn't have heard PC. So I'm just curious. I personally don't think AC would be that effective in trucks with the rules we have in place with stopping and starting, not idling and stuff like that. But it makes me, I also don't work in California or Florida or Texas or Arizona. It's hot where I'm at, but I'm not dealing with heat like you fucking guys are, man. So it's
I
a
don't
whole
know if
nother
you guys
level.
have seen the trucks. They're the merchant services trucks, the white trucks that look like package cars. They have AC in them. And I ran a bulk run with one of those ACs, and for long drives between stops, it's great, but for stop and go, it's not really going to do anything, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's true. But not only the heat, what about hurricanes? You guys are right there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, one of the storms we had 2 days ago started a brush fire from lightning in my backyard, and the fire department had to come and put it out. So Hurricane Irma, when it came through a couple of years ago, it was pretty devastating, man. A lot of people couldn't come back. A lot of people didn't have power. And, honestly, the company was pretty good about, they were bringing in ice and water for the drivers, and we were allowed to fuel up at the gas pumps at the company, and they were keeping track. They actually said they were going to keep track and take it out of our paychecks, but they never did. They never actually did take them out of our paychecks.
Oh, that's good.
And they had fuel trucks coming in, and we could fuel our personal cars for 10 gallons at a time. And they brought in ice from a reefer truck, and they brought in water. They brought in snacks, and they brought in the ready team to try to catch us up.
Mm-hmm.
And, it was interesting, I actually got into it with the district president because, people were not happy to be back at work, but we had to come back because a lot of the supplies, like people were ordering water through Amazon, cases of water. And it was really important to try to get back out to the community. And, it was really important what we were doing. And, people were ordering generators and stuff through Amazon, trying to get them through. And, it actually felt like you're doing something for once.
Sure.
I had a guy jumping with me, and we had a curfew of like 7 p.m. because that's when it got dark. And we go into this neighborhood, and I'm like, okay, we can knock out this neighborhood before we get done. And the first stop we go to, we realized they were redoing the mailboxes in the neighborhoods, and we could not find any of the addresses. And I looked at him. We walked up this driveway, and he was carrying a couple of packages, and I was carrying some heavy shit. And we realized we were at the wrong house. And I looked at him, and he looked at me, and I said, "Fuck this. We're going home. We're done. There's no way in hell we can deliver this neighborhood without any fucking numbers on the mailboxes."
Oh my!
Because they were all estate homes and long driveways, and you get to the house and you see the numbers and you go, "Damn it, they're not at the right house."
Oh, that'd be so fucking. Talk about taking wind out of your sails. That happens a few times on a bad day. God, yeah.
The best part was they sent a bunch. So if you don't know, the Ready team is a bunch of, like, every building has an on-road or two assigned to the Ready team. And when something happens, like a natural disaster, or like when we had the really crappy peak, when there are all those ice storms in Texas, they send supervisors to deliver. And they sent the Ready team, and they were putting them 2 men to a truck to try to get the work done. And my on-road is like, these guys have delivered 10 stops in the last 2 hours. What the fuck are they doing? So it was like pointless. They had no idea what the fuck they were doing, and they were driving around in circles, had no idea where they were going.
God.
Oh my goodness.
I was trying to think of I was at the ball one time. I was thinking if I had that beat. I had one time I was delivering 7 stops per hour, and I didn't even like the mall being the mall. This is obviously a cradle wouldn't help you there anyway. I just played in one of these alumni games. I played in these 2 football games back in, this one was like 2014. And I don't know if I was still riding the high from that or whatever, but I didn't know the mall route that well. And like, I was still kind of like adrenaline driven, and I just kept going to the wrong fucking places. And a center manager called, said, "You are delivering 7 stops an hour. What the fuck?" Like, on my cell phone. This wasn't a message in the diet, obviously. What the fuck are you doing? Now, I knew it was bad, but yeah, when he said 10, I had to throw that in there. They still got they got double digits at least.
So I'm an unassigned driver. I've been unassigned, and I run all the different routes. So one time they decided, you're going to learn them all. I'm like, okay. So our supervisor, his name was Josh, he rode with the mall guy for 3 days to learn them all so he could teach me. Well, the 4th day, I don't exactly remember what happened. I don't remember if it was jury duty, his wife got sick, whatever it is. Josh couldn't come to work. So I'm supposed to learn them all on the 4th day. So a different supervisor jumps on the truck with me, and we're running them all totally blind. Neither of us knows what the hell we're doing. And we go in the mall, and we park by FYE, for Your Entertainment, the music store.
Yeah.
It's one of the entrances to the mall.
Throwback.
And he's like, wait a minute, we've got some pickups. So we're going through the mall, and we realize we have no idea where the hell the truck is. We know it's by FYE. We have no fucking clue where FYE is. We lost the fucking truck. Like, where's the truck? I don't know where we parked. Greg, where are we? Where were we doing? So we had to go find the mall directory and find out what FYE was to go back and find the truck.
Holy shit.
Oh, shit.
I guess Sorry, go ahead.
And I never ran the mall ever again.
Dude,
we were both like,
It was like,
screw this.
I will say for me, once I learned the mall, it was not bad. But man, that was yes,
I agree.
It can be a fucking.
So I guess the final. I guess we could just talk about it real quick here before we get into the question of the week. Episode 1 and the lost episode.
I threw the lost episode in there because I was like, Brad was
there
in the lost episode. Like, there's been so much. There's been just it's like it's folklore, dude.
Got a little too tipsy. And it wasn't quite professional.
It was very professional.
I said before we got on to start recording, I said that I'll never forget. It was on a fucking conference call, and one of the spoilers of the lost episode was Dave telling a story about his cat's ass dragging its ass across the fucking rug, and
holy
like
fuck.
after we did, like, I don't know, you must have had it in the docs or something. I don't even remember because
I was probably just so jazzed up and amped up about how I just wanted to kill my cat, probably because she's dragging her ass across my carpet.
You were you said like the next day, you're like, how some were telling that or putting that in there, and Brad was like, you don't. And I was like, oh, I laughed so hard because that's one thing I could remember was that when you said that, talking about your cat's ass, I laughed my ass off at it, but I think that might have exposed how bad the lost episode actually was, because that's the part I could remember. Because I remember, literally, I don't think you even told it like it really in detail, because but you're just like, yeah, he just drug his ass, and all. It's just like, oh god, so fucking hilarious. Just like a couple fucking. And people get, a couple fucking, I don't want to call us drunks, but a couple drunk people fucking laughing at the simplest shit. And he said that, dude, I remember when I was like, yeah, maybe we don't. Maybe that wasn't a good one to talk about, but that just, one of them little tidbits I always fucking laughed at. But
it's so funny, the history of this show, and like we've had quite a few drunk people on here before.
I'm drunk right now, I'm gonna admit.
Well, it's a lot.
No, you're holding your own. You're good.
We're a lot more late. We're a lot more professional now. I'm just lacking. We're a lot better. We can hold ourselves up better. I'm not even drinking.
I was talking
now.
about
I'm just
guests
fucking.
As well.
I'm not. Yeah, a few guests. Shout out to.
You don't got to mention them. It's fine.
Do I give a shout out? They know who they are. I'll give a shout out. I'll give a shout out to RJ Porno Parcel, because his episode was the one that I was that was not really. It was one of those moments where I wasn't supposed to go somewhere that long, and I ended up staying really long. And was like, oh God, we got to record. Better get back. And I stared. I stared a hole through that fucking camera. But yeah, we try to encourage not, because it doesn't really, as the lost episode entailed, it doesn't, to come off when you're actually trying to put out a podcast. It doesn't come off the same. That's what I'm trying to tell friends of mine sometimes. Like when we get fucked up and tell someone like, dude, yeah, it might sound funny to us, but if you don't construct
my God.
I was like, if you don't construct it, I was like, if you don't construct it the right way and put it in a way that's for a podcast, like it don't sound good. It just does. I was like, you might think it does, but it fucking doesn't. Oh shit. So he is. So Brad, if that fucking lost episode's Bigfoot, Brad has seen Bigfoot. He knows.
They would call him the skunk ape in Florida. I have that argument with one of my exes all the time. It's the skunk ape, not Bigfoot. He stinks in Florida because of the humidity.
I believe it. I fucking believe it.
Jesus. Okay. Let's get into the question of the week. I know it's been a little while since we've done one of these, but we're going to start rolling them out again. So, the question of the week. This one dates back a little bit here. This one was, what kind of driver are you? Ready for the example? Are you aggressive? Are you slow and steady? What's your, let's hope nobody gets fired over this one. Here we go, because there's 29 comments. Let's start at the top. This one is from K-Fit, past guest. Kayla. She says,
What's her last name?
Fuck you. Fuck you, buddy.
Nice.
God damn it.
Good one, Brad. Nice.
Hold on. Kayla, I know you're listening. Brad, stop laughing. I can't.
I even feel like
I have to cover your face so I don't start laughing. Rushetsky.
I have no idea if that's right or not. But
I
go
mean,
with it.
she's got a. I mean, I was thinking your guys' names. Well, I'm not saying
Rushetsky.
Is her name Polish?
Rushetsky. I think it's Rushetsky.
I think it is Rashetsky.
She's
Go with that.
Just call me out on my bullshit, Kayla, please. Here we go. Kayla says, fuck you, Brad. Kayla says definitely verbal and aggressive, especially taking a left on a busy road. If we ever get cameras, I sure hope there's no microphone. Well, we just found that out. The amount of vulgar terms coming from this mouth is quite unhealthy. Nonsense, poopy pants. No, there's no such thing as too much verbal aggression.
As long as the windows are up.
You mean your doors are shut?
But no, their windows are up because our doors are always
Oh,
open.
their windows are up. Yeah. I got you. Next one here is from the hot delivery driver. He just says hot
What
driver.
up, Jeremy?
Of course he would.
What a fucking awesome episode that was. Fucking enjoyed that one. This one here is from Tony Cook. Tony says, slow and steady wins the retirement race. And it pays
It's
way better.
It's a marathon, not a race.
That's right.
Not a sprint, rather.
Well said, Tony.
Yeah. No, it's a marathon, not a race. That's exactly what it is. You got it. This one here is from Coag. Corey Wagner says, gotta stay cool and collected, but you know, I'm cussing up a storm. Yeah, you know.
With a deer stuck in her truck.
Oh, dude, I saw that shit. Yeah, that was wild, wasn't it?
Yeah.
This one here is from Daniel the Warrior 503 says, good pace and taking souls.
That well
Daniel,
said.
what are you doing on
metal.
route, bud?
He's working at a slow and steady pace. The only time he's running is when he's doing burpees and plyometrics, just kicking ass. He's not running on their time. Maybe I don't know. I don't know. Maybe he could be. That's up to you, Daniel.
This one, anyways, this one.
I have no idea.
This one is from, I miss saying this name, Swollen Gorilla. Says, I'm passive while in the brownie. In my personal vehicle, not so much. Not so much.
Nice.
It's always good to be passive. Old ball bearded bastard says, verbal. Very, very verbal. If anyone heard the creative words I was saying, I would have a long list of complaints every day.
Good thing he runs a rural route.
Creative words.
Yeah, right.
I love it. This one here is from Good Ship Sean. Sean, shout out to Sean Avery. He's on vacation for like 6 weeks in a row, just killing the gelato boat right now.
Gelato in it. Nice.
Killing it. Fucking killing it.
I wouldn't come back after 6 weeks.
I know. That's got to be fucking tough.
It'd be tough.
But still, what fucking cool, dude. God, dude, it's still, I'm still fucking just like, I need to go visit this guy sometime. Good Ship Sean says, I'm pretty chill now that I have a rural route with no traffic. I was a wild one in the city, though. Very aggressive, zero patience, and easily angered. They tell us to yield the right of way. Fuck that shit. The right of way is mine, mother trucker. This one here is from I Am Lars. I Am Lars says, steady in the vibe. Steady and in the vibe, man. Steady and in the vibe, man. With a little hang loose finger emoji. This one here is from Haley Bug Creations. Says, verbal and aggressive, especially if you are in the left lane, not even going the speed limit. My kids have a whole new vocabulary. All right, yes. I know what that's like, Ashley. This one here is from Samantha at Amantha. Says, hee. about that.
I can't believe you didn't fuck that up.
What? I got hers down. No.
Yeah, I'm on the phone with her when she's driving. She's a freaking aggressive ass driver. Don't fucking hit the brakes. You're right, the fuck, you son of a bitch. I can only go 68 miles an hour.
Now, does the answer reflect that?
What was the answer again?
That's what I
The
was
answer
asking
was
Dave.
hee.
Oh.
About that.
Yeah, exactly.
So it does reflect
Damn
that.
old Dominion cut me off. Don't hit your brakes, motherfucker. That's what I hear from Samantha all the time.
Nice.
This one here is from you, Brad Mosher. At BRadMo says, methodical, in and out, like when I delivered to your mom's house and your dad is finally on his way back with the milk. In and out quick. There you go. That deserves one of those.
Jumping out the second story window, baby.
Like this one here is from Give Me More Cosplay. Says, in the upstruck, very defensive, but I do yell at people. LOL. In my Jeep, however, I feel like safely, but I can be aggressive. Of you hit me, your car is fucked my Jeep. Oh, you hit me, your car is fucked my Jeep. Paint scratch. Were you drunk when you wrote this? I'm trying so hard to try and figure out the English.
I drove a Wrangler for a while. I accidentally slid in the rain with Super Swampers on and hit somebody, and I drove away and they did not. So I think I understand that.
Paint scratch. No lie. Happened to me recently where some lady rear-ended me going 45, 55 miles per hour and my Jeep was fine. Her car was totaled.
Exactly.
Dun, dun, dun. This one here is from ADG at Awesome Delivery Guy. Says, my kids say I drive like an angry SpongeBob. Except in the semi, I'm driving Miss Daisy, but with really bad language. Shout out to Ernie Martinez at Craft Beer Snob. Says, go slow, make the money for lots of beer after work.
Craft beer isn't cheap.
Dude, he loves him IPAs. That's who I was going to shout.
I know. We know.
We all know. He knows too.
This one here is from Erky32. It's Eric, right? Eric 32. Eric Sanchez. Eric says, despite of being DQ'd, I'd say safe for the most part. If the husband is home, get out. When I'm in a cul-de-sac, always leaving out. Mentally verbal in my head because I wouldn't say it out loud on my 30. Luckily for me, didn't have a camera till one day before me being DQ'd. So disqualified? You'll get it again.
Yeah, I talked to him actually. We talked to a little bit about this. I think there was another opportunity for him to drive. I don't want to speak too much for him, but I think there was another opportunity for him to drive on.
Word. This one here is from Josh Allen. Says, really depends on the stop count and area I have. Yeah, sure. This one here is from Brooklyn _up. Says, feeder life, slow and steady.
Bragging.
This one here is from what?
They always brag. Oh, I'm in beaters. Yeah, well, you wear a size 44 and I wear a size 34. So,
ooh, there's some people who are gonna be coming after you for that one. At Coag. This one's from this one here is from Logan Kinross. Says, chill, working safe, enjoying life, don't give two fucks. Beer emoji. This one, next one's from Alex Garcia. Says, aggressive and steady, that's my energy right now. This one is from Craig's Natural Picks. It says, slow and steady as I tell my OCS, if you don't like this speed, you definitely won't like my other speed. Mm.
I like
Ooh,
it.
getting down the list, RJ65 Imagery says aggressively defensive. That's a good term.
I like it.
Aggressively
I like it.
defensive. This one here is Beyond.Grateful says defensive. Hashtag defensive. Rocky Mountain Rots says slow and steady. The S stands for service, not speed. And also, it's a marathon, not a sprint. The company doesn't care if your body breaks down. They'll just toss you to the side and make room for the next person.
Well said.
I mean, ding, nailed it right on the fucking head. And this one here is from the Preload Life. Says, I am more of a calm driver, but can get a bit aggressive sometimes. Yeah, don't we all? Shout out here to our one and only DHL driver listener, Rick Star. Rick, I swear, if Rick mentioned something about a fucking strip club in this, Rick, I'm on to you, Rick. Rick says, aggressive on my route. People do 5 miles per hour. They drive like they're afraid of the steering wheel and are petrified to go around me on a wide open street whenever I'm stopped with my hazards on. Hence why I take out my frustrations by driving aggressive. Way to keep that one PG, Rick. Way to be, buddy. This one here is from Ben Ingersoll. Says, consistent, routine, safe, and very verbal. If you cut me off or don't know how to merge onto a highway, I'll be verbal. Next one, one more left. Says PT Pab 12 is the name. PT Pab. Who are you? Pete. I think I did this last time. Pete says,
I'm
on the night.
driver.
What?
Yeah, the Florida guy.
No. Okay. Is it?
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Pete says, I'm on the 9-5 list, so no need to speed. It's about getting home safely every day. What a good wrap up. Way to wrap that one up, Pete. Fucking right, buddy.
Yeah, that was very well said.
Fucking right.
Good answers for work to make that money.
Yeah.
I got 3 from Facebook.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I was
Daddy duty.
Daddy duty real quick. Yeah, she can eat. We had 3 on Facebook. The first one is from Douglas Holstrom. Says, I would say moderate and steady. I don't go slow, but I also ain't trying to take shortcuts to avoid traffic. I like to remind myself overtime pays almost $1 per minute. I keep saying well said, and that is another very valid fucking well said point we got here. 2 left. Robert Davis says, after 17 years, I am aggressively headed to the slow and steady stages of my career. Hashtag cardboard mafia. Then Matt Showstack says, my wife just answered, quote unquote, grandpa. I would describe myself as safe. That's all we had. That's all we had for Facebook.
Oh, shout out
to say for me, I drive like a fucking. I'm aggressive out there. In the tin can, I'm real aggressive. I don't know any other way.
Like the one answer was, like, it depends how the route's that day. You know how it is that day.
The mood does play. It plays a role. It plays a role.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So, well, Luke, do you have anything for Brad?
Other than brother, I'm glad this worked out, and it's always
absolutely.
Till the next time when we're bullshitting on a conference call, I will be when this gets released. I think that will be when this episode gets released. That'll be my first day back to reality. But as always, brother, it's always good talking to you. We appreciate you coming on, and I just, yeah, man. Like I said, like I was telling everybody before, he is co-creator. He was here from the fucking very beginning, and was a part of this. I mean, we said that before. Just much part of this as anybody, and yeah, brother. I'm just glad to have you on, and we appreciate you.
Absolutely. Brad, do you have anything for us?
No problem. No, I think I'm good.
Awesome. Don't go anywhere so you can say goodbye off air, all right? Thank you again for joining us, buddy. This has been fun. And God, lots of memories came back there as we were talking about shit. Fuck. Crazy.
Yeah. And I'm even forgetting shit. But
I know.
That's nothing new. That's not a spoiler.
Oh, we know. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for joining us. And of course, as always, continue delivering greatness and don't forget your most important stop. All right, everybody, drive safe out there. We'll see you guys next week.
Later, everybody.